What's up, everybody? Welcome to Heroes of Our Time. We are your hosts, Wyatt and Vernon. This is a brand new show we are starting up on the channel. In case you are wondering why we haven't been doing really any superhero reviews, this is why. Vernon, you came to me months and months ago because this show has been in the works for quite a while now. You came with me with the crazy idea of starting at the very beginning and going through every single superhero and comic book movie in chronological order. So,
Ever.
I mean, I haven't done too much research, but I'm pretty sure we're the first show to do this. And I mean, why not do this?
That's the best part. You got to find that slot where you fit in, where you're feeding a need. And there's a need out there for a show like this where someone's going through, no matter DC, Marvel, it doesn't matter. You're going through every single superhero movie ever. And we're talking live action. Now, we talked previously animation. We might get into that later, but
possibly
that's not necessarily
that's just adding even more, because as of right now, this is an undertaking of epic proportions, because this is a never-ending journey that we're on. Every year there's multiple superheroes and comic book movies being made and released, and we're starting at square one. As of everybody probably knows by clicking on this video, we are reviewing Batman the movie from 1966 for episode 1. So we're starting here. We're starting at the very beginning. I mean, there were like superhero TV and silent films. Like there was an old Batman silent film. We're not trying to go back that far. We're starting with the main big budget type films. And Batman 66 was one of the first ones. And I mean, just to kind of, not a whole rundown, because this spreadsheet that you sent me to start, it was huge. But I mean, just
over 100 movies on it just to start,
Exactly.
We haven't added every single and I think 20 some have come out since we started, so
yeah, I haven't been keeping up on the list lately, so I mean, we actually need to go in here and start updating it more. But I remember you sent me the list and the idea, and I was like, oh my god, how are we gonna do this? But I mean, it's perfect though, because we can come back every now and then and just do the next movie. But I mean, other than Batman 66, the next ones we have on the docket is Superman, from 1976, Christopher Reeves, and then we got Superman 2, and then Swamp Thing after that. So I mean, we're getting right into the thick of it.
I personally am very excited for it. I know a lot of people have seen a lot of the mainstream superhero movies, especially the ones nowadays, and me, that's somebody like me where all of these old ones I maybe have seen once when I was younger, but otherwise I don't remember a damn thing about. So I'm going in fresh to a lot of the beginning ones here. So that's one of the parts that I'm excited about the most, man.
Yeah, same with me. Some of the ones I have seen from the 70s or 80s, I really don't remember. And not only that, there are a lot of them I have not seen. I know there's The Punisher and Fantastic Four that came out in the early 90s, late 80s. It's I have never seen those. I've only heard about them. But there is so much more movies that I didn't even know were a thing that we were kind of going around. I mean, some of them we're going to have to really kind of do a deep dive and try to find to even watch them. But I mean, we'll go down that road when we get to it.
That's one thing I was thinking about. We might have a little bit of trouble finding some of these movies, but we'll find them. We'll get it done. We'll review it. And we'll bring it to you.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just to pretty much sum it up, we are going through everything, every superhero comic book movie in chronological order, starting with Batman 66, starring Adam West and Burt Ward, directed by Leslie H. Mattinson. It also stars Alan Napier as Alfred. We got Cesar Romero as the Joker, Lee Merriweather as Catwoman, Burgess Meredith as the Penguin, and Frank Gorshin as the Riddler. They threw everybody in this movie as far as the villains and everything.
Was the Matt Reeves Batman before Matt Reeves Batman? Okay,
pretty much.
That's all I was thinking while I was watching this movie was this is exactly, other than the Joker, that's the only difference as far as the villain.
He's in there a little
bit,
but he's not a huge part of it. Yeah, like he is in this movie.
Exactly.
But you're right.
This is insane. They did it first. But exactly, it was such a crazy mashup of some of the most ridiculous characters in the whole entire Batman universe.
Yeah.
But the way they were so kooky and funny and just over the top ridiculous was even better to see them all grouped up. But
yeah,
it was amazing, man.
Now, the movie came out in 1966. Was this the first time you ever seen this movie to do the review?
Yes, and I've watched it, to be honest, because we have been trying to plan this for months now. So I've watched it probably 4 times since we've
You
because I
know it,
keep
man. I've done the same thing though.
but like I've watched it probably 4 times now, and I'm just still just as baffled every time I watch it. Like this actually is real, you know? They actually did all this, and it just goes to show, watching a movie nowadays and then watching this, I
Hmm.
love kind of nitpicking, especially the fourth time through, some of
Hmm.
the ways they filmed the movie, where you could see
Yeah.
different things, and it's just like I love just seeing like them
Hmm.
riding the we'll get to it, but the umbrella things, and it's just I love the cheesiness of all of it,
Oh yeah, that's the whole movie, man. It's just it's so campy and cheesy.
Mhm.
But yeah, like you said, we had to watch it a couple different times because we've been planning this for a while. So it's like I had a couple different viewings of it because I like one viewing I was watching like taking notes on everything, and then like the next couple viewings or whatever, like one I was kind of half paying attention to, and the other one I was like actually just watching, just to watch it, enjoy it, and that's where I really
Exactly.
kind of noticed a lot more stuff, and I was like, oh, which is
Like, this
interesting
is
because
insane.
unlike yourself, I grew up watching this movie. I had this on
Mhm.
VHS back in the day. I have no clue how I got it. Like my parents just bought it, I guess, because I
Yeah.
loved Batman at the time. Like everybody else, I grew up watching like Batman '89, Batman Returns. I mean, those are the peak Batman. I myself have always been a huge fan of Batman Forever with Val Kilmer and the joke and Jim Carrey and everything.
Which
That
we'll
movie gets
get
a lot of
to.
shit,
That's one
but
of my favorites too, though. I
yeah,
love I love it.
that's way down
We'll
the
get to
line. But
that.
yeah, that's one of my favorite
That's
Batmans
in
as well.
2035 when we get to that one.
Yeah, but I mean, those were the ones that we grew up with when we were kids, and then of course, like Batman and Robin came out. Whereas, like we were like 6 years old when that came out. We didn't really know any better, so I mean, it was entertaining at that point. But now it's
Exactly.
like I don't even want to watch that movie anymore. But we'll get to that one eventually, way down the road. But this was always like in the rotation of just watching like Batman movies when I was a kid, and I never really thought anything of it. It was just another Batman movie that was way different because all the other Batmans were somewhat different. Like Batman
Yeah.
Forever is drastically different from, Batman '89 and Batman Returns and everything. So they all have their own little quirks, but this one for sure is to this day the most outrageous and different Batman from anything else. And I
Yeah.
mean, of course you have the Batman '66 TV show, which this was actually originally planned as the pilot for the show. Originally, they were gonna
See, that's I wasn't
debut this
sure.
movie as before the show came out, and then they're like, we don't have the money to really do what we want with the movie, so they actually held off on this, and they did this movie in between season 1 and 2, so they would have more money. That way they were able to get the bat boat and the bat copter and everything. They were able to get some of this other stuff and make it of a bigger production, because for those that don't really know too much about the show itself, normally there's like they would have like an episode each week, and normally they're two-parters, kind of like how the Justice League show was back in Cartoon Network, but they were
Yeah.
normally like two-part episodes where like the
You know,
first
a full hour
episode.
worth of content more or less, but half an hour each.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like one episode, Adam West, like in Burt Ward, that's when you would get the villain of that week or whatever, or those two episodes, and they would cause some trouble. Batman and Robin have to go, try to stop them. Of course, something goes wrong. There's a cliffhanger of the episode where like Batman and Robin are like trapped or something's happening. Oh, tune in
Come
next
back
week for the
next time.
conclusion of this, this saga or whatever. And then the next week's episode is them getting out of the trouble and then going and stopping the villain. And then, it's
Exactly.
every two episodes going forward. It's like the villain for two episodes and then moving on. And it definitely has its own formula. I've tried watching the series multiple times, but after so many, every two episodes, it's very like the same. Like it doesn't really change much throughout. Where
Well,
this
you gotta think
movie,
about the time too.
well, yeah,
Like, it
exactly,
was
and it's TV.
definitely
You don't have much of a budget for
TV.
TV.
Exactly. And first season type of stuff, like you were saying.
Exactly. So I mean, when they made the movie here, when you watch the movie compared to the TV show, it's definitely different. It's way bigger of a scale. Even though when you watch the movie, it's like it doesn't seem like they really went above and beyond and went too far out with it. But compared to the show, they definitely spent some money on it and did some bigger things.
Well, that's the best part about it then. If that's what their original plan was and they succeeded, they're like, you know what, let's just wait on the movie because we'll be able to make the movie better by the time we're doing that, you know. So
Yeah.
that's a great idea, and I didn't know that. So that's pretty awesome there.
And there are some other facts here just before we get into the movie itself. This is the shortest live action Batman movie so far. I mean, we are in 2023. This came out in 1966 and it's still the shortest at an hour and 45 minutes, which is over an hour and a half long, which is like a standard
Pretty
runtime.
lengthy, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, every other Batman's like 2 hours and some change or something, or close to it. Especially nowadays, everything's like close to 3 hours, you know?
Especially a superhero movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even starting with like the Nolan Batmans, it's like those were 2.5 hours each or something. It's crazy.
Shit, the third one was like almost 3.
Close to 3, and then the Batman that came out, years ago, that was close to 3 as well. And it's like that's like the new norm for these superhero movies. Adam West apparently wanted more Bruce Wayne in this movie because he felt like he was buried in the mask all the time as Batman. So he's like, I want to put some more Bruce Wayne in here. So, I mean, you definitely get way more Batman to Bruce Wayne ratio, but I feel like he's definitely in here more than he is in the show as far as being Bruce Wayne.
And he's an idiot.
They're all idiots. That's the thing. Is like I feel like they're all idiots. That was the thing I noticed on my last watch. Is like everybody's a fucking idiot, and
they're all fucking idiots. What are they doing? Like, but we'll get to that.
I want to know what the police do. Like, what do the police do?
Nothing.
Because they're every time something happens, they instantly just call Batman. They're like, "Hey, we need your help, bud." Like,
and the police are just sitting there like.
Yeah, like, nobody's out helping them at all.
What's going on? How's that gonna happen? What's going on, Bats? Did you fix it? Like,
yeah.
What do you mean?
It's like there's the commissioner, the chief, and then it's just Batman and Robin. There's no actual policeman, I guess.
Yeah, they're there for show. They're a puppet, you know.
Julie Newmar, who played Catwoman in the show. There was a couple different Catwomen in the show, but Julie Newmar didn't appear due to doing another movie, and also she wasn't told about it originally. So she's like, that's why I had another movie scheduled, because nobody told me, or else I probably would have did it. So I mean, that's where you get Lee Merriweather as Catwoman in this one, and she's pretty good as well. I mean, she has like a Russian accent the whole time.
Yeah, and I think it's just like it's so over the top how all of them do their like the Penguin does this whack, 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 like the whole time.
Every single one of them, dude.
Purring and meowing, and like one of my favorite parts of the movie.
I know what you're gonna say too, Matt. I know it's exactly which one you're probably gonna say.
It's like she's like looking through the thing, and there's a sailor right next to her, and they're both looking through like the periscope, and she's just like meow, meow, and purring, and then like he just like takes the thing off and like just stares at her.
What the hell is she doing?
It's like almost like a fourth wall breaking thing because like it's like he realizes like that she isn't supposed to be doing that.
That dude was exactly like with the audience on that one, because it was like long before she was like using like, when she's talking she's like perfect or whatever, or making like little meows, or when she's sitting there while the villains are talking she's like bathing herself, and and when she's like looking through the periscope,
I'll let that go.
And he's like, what the hell is she doing?
What are you doing? You know you're not actually a cat, right? Like that's all I was thinking that dude was thinking, more or less, Oh
it's
my
ridiculous.
God, I love it.
That's kind of why I love this movie too. I mean, to me, everybody's gonna give this movie shit probably, like if they watch it. I mean, it is certainly a product of its time.
Yeah.
But I do not think it's the worst Batman movie by any means. That still was held by Batman and Robin in 1997.
This movie was just fine.
This movie is
just fine.
This movie did exactly what it wanted to do. It doesn't take itself seriously. The plot is okay. I mean, it's outrageous by all means. Nothing
Spoiler
really
alert.
I mean, it kind of gets resolved at the end. We don't know.
This movie is better than Quantumania, you know what I mean?
I haven't seen Quantumania, so I ain't going there. But I mean, that's hey, I believe
we'll get to that when we review Quantumania in 2040. But this movie was just fine. Like, don't be discouraged by the fact that it's from '66. Just go out and watch it, be entertained. It is a very, very entertaining movie, like from start to finish.
I would actually like for anybody that hasn't seen this show, I would highly recommend watching this movie over going and watching the actual show itself, because you're getting everything great about the show in this movie, like just compact into like an hour and 40 minutes.
All you need.
It's all you need.
All you need.
and it's one of those. It's like, I wouldn't even say it's like bad, because it's just a product of 1966 and what they were able to do.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like, it's so bad it's good type of thing. Like I enjoy it when I'm watching through. Like I'm entertained the whole time, because of how ridiculous it is and how dumb these characters are, and like how outrageous some of this like crime solving and problem solving they have in this movie. It's like Black Dynamite type level stuff where like
Exactly, but I forgot to mention one thing that is at the very, very, very beginning of the movie, one of my favorite parts of the movie, okay?
Yeah.
We have to backtrack a little bit here. The opening credits, when the dude is just like, just running, like this, the same track of the same dude running in like different sections, like, and it's just like, I was just like, what the fuck? This passed as the opening for this, like, it's just this dude just like, and, like, it reminded me of Blackie Sack, like, where the beginning of every episode with the dude, like, no matter what, like, the other like parts of the opening is the dude trips over the curb, like, and every single one, like, I was just like, what the hell? But I loved it. Another part that I was this is amazing.
I mean, right, we're gonna get in the movie here in a second. The last note I had was they were planning a sequel to the movie that just, it never, came to fruition. They were gonna introduce Barbara Gordon / Batgirl in the sequel. So I mean, that, unfortunately, that didn't happen. Part of me thinks, I do believe they introduced her in the show at one point. I haven't watched through the whole series, so I mean, if anybody's watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, because we're only reviewing the movie, not the show. I didn't dive in too much into that, but they were planning on introducing her in the second movie, but unfortunately that never got happened, because they only made like 3 seasons of the show before they ended up calling it quits. I'm not sure why they did it, but I'm sure like Adam West and everything were probably sick of doing that at that point.
Just like, nah, I'm on the bigger and better things.
Not much else other than like B movies and TV.
Thought he was.
And then he did Family Guy all those years later and shit, and got kind of a resurgence. And then they ended up doing before he ended up passing, unfortunately, they ended up doing like the Batman 66 animated movies for DC. There's like 2 of those. There's like the Rise of Two-Face, and I think there's another one that has like the Joker in it and stuff. But they actually came back and reprised, they used their voices for an animated feature of Batman 66. Yeah, both him and Burt came back. Yeah, I watched the first one. It wasn't too bad. It definitely captures the campiness and everything. It's just in animated form. It's a little different to get used to if you're used to watching the show or the movie, but
still voiced by them, so that's even better.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. We might as well get right into the movie here. You did mention already, you opens up with, before we even get to the credits, it just gives you a huge thank you to like the police and everything. Like, this movie is dedicated to like all the crime solvers and policemen out there. We just want to give you a huge thank you and everything.
It's saying like, don't take this movie too seriously. It's like,
don't worry, we won't.
We won't, trust me. But it tells you right from the jump that this is about to be a ridiculous fest of craziness.
Yeah, and like you said, like the whole opening credits is just like this dude. It looked like Dick Tracy kind of with a trench coat and the fedora, just running around through alleys and the spotlights chasing him, and then it's just intercut with like. The best way to describe it for like the viewers is like 90s sitcom type stuff, where like it would have like the name and then just like that person, whereas like there's a spotlight shines and it's like Batman and he's doing a weird pose. It's Adam West, Burt Ward, and then it goes through all the villains and everything. But then they never catch this dude in these opening credits. He gets away, I think.
He gets away. Very
that's all
open.
It's a pretty cool opening credit sequence, but like what you're saying, it's just the same dude, and it looks like they're like reversing the shots every time of the same shot of him running down like a street.
Same shot, changing the color of the background and reversing the shot, and it's just like it was awesome. I still loved it. I was like, man, this started off like this.
Yeah, okay, I love the music in this movie too, because it's so weird. like the opening credits music is just like all horns, and like it doesn't use the actual like Batman theme song that you use from the TV show. Like everybody knows the da-na-na-na-na-na-na Batman. Doesn't even use that. It does its own theme through the
close where it uses
like the same horns.
Similar.
Kind and instrumental a little bit, but it's not the same thing though, which I was surprised they didn't do. The opening credits, it kicks off the movie, and it kind of lets you know all right, we're going to be in for a ride a little bit. It's going to be a little ridiculous. And it just kicks right off. There's a anonymous tip to the police about a yacht in the ocean being in danger. There's like an expensive, like multi-million-dollar invention that's on the boat or something. And like Bruce Wayne and Dick immediately just pull up to the crib and they're like, all right, we gotta go.
Gotta figure it out.
Slide down through the bat. You have like the Shakespeare head with the button in it that opens the bookcase. You slide down and they're instantly in their outfits from sliding down the pole.
You gotta hit the switch. They hit the switch as they're sliding down the pole.
Yeah,
and it says
that's
like
what puts
change. Or like costume change lever.
I always wondered how that works. Like, is there just like a tube and it just has their outfits sprawled out and they just drop down into them?
That's the thing. Like, I feel like it happens so fast. That's the movie magic. You don't really know.
It's movie magic. And as cheap as the costumes look, I've always loved the bat suit and like just the weird like shiny blue and gray, because you never get the blue and gray Batman suit in any of the other live action movies. It's all just black, or the Batfleck you got the gray a little bit, but it's still just gray and black. It's not blue.
The suit is just so like clothy, like
it's just like a helmet.
Like
there's gaps in between his face.
You can tell exactly who it is. You know what I mean? It's perfect for, like I said, it's perfect for the time. That's why this suit is in like video games that they make nowadays as a classic suit. Like it's iconic. So it's one of the
Adam
best
West
suits,
got
honestly.
Got the dad bod in the 60s, like what Shatner did in Star Trek and everything. Got the dad bod. You don't have to worry about being ripped to be a superhero, bro. This makes you. But they could have gave Burt Ward some longer shorts or something, dude. Like he was in like these like super short Robin shorts. Like, bro,
you know how the 60s
hooked them up a little bit.
Even with basketball, man, it was the short shorts. So that was the thing. That was what was in, though. So can you really blame them?
Yeah, I guess not. But you have one of the coolest fucking Batmobiles around as well. They hop in, the old batteries, power, turbines to speed, flipping all the switches and just blast off out through the cave. I love that Batmobile design and everything. It's just a regular ass car, just kind of, they took the top off and just put some cool dome like type windshield and like a little siren and everything. I love
how they drive it to the airport.
They just wheel out the helicopter.
Like
they call ahead, like, yeah, you get the Batcopter out.
Get the Batcopter ready. We're coming. And that leads us to the yacht scene.
Well, before we get there, I wanted to mention this because they get in the Batcopter, which they pulled it out for them. They get in the Batcopter. They're flying over the city, and they fly over a building that just has like women in bikinis like cheering on top of it, and they're like, "Oh, it's Batman and Robin!" But like, why are they up there on a helipad? Like these just women in bikinis. And I love
like the cops, like the cops,
the soldiers or whatever, and like they look up and they're like, "Oh, it's Batman!" And then as soon as it cuts back to him, they're like have their hats off, and they're like,
all just.
And Batman doesn't even salute back; he just gives them a thumbs up.
It's like, good to see the boys in blue support their like local bat or whatever he says.
The dude in the park with this girl, he's like, gives you a good feeling to know those guys are out there keeping the city safe.
Like showing you this society has way too much faith in Batman.
Way too much
Batman's
faith.
The shit, but everybody believes Batman is going to solve all of their issues,
everything.
Not just some of them, like literally everything. Any problem, Batman is going to solve it. That's just how this universe
makes you wonder, like, because I mean, a lot of the modern tellings of Gotham City through like the graphic novels and the movies, it's a crime-ridden city. Like, there's no end to this mess. Where it's like Gotham City in this movie, it looks like it's like a peaceful place to live with only a couple crimes here and there. Like, and that's just Batman has to solve every now and then.
A normal city, just pretty normal. Like more like Metropolis or wherever Superman's from, where it's not quite as bad. This is what Gotham City looked like before it got to where it is nowadays.
Yeah,
so maybe that's just all it is.
But yeah, they get to the yacht out in the middle of the ocean, and Batman's like, "Oh, gotta throw down the bat ladder," and it has a big old sign that says "Bat Ladder," so you know exactly what it is.
Climbs down this shit all slow,
and the boat just fucking disappears out of nowhere. And Robin's dumbass drops him into the drink below.
Pull up, Robin.
I'm too low.
And he just comes out of the water with a goddamn shark on his leg, just like, and he's like,
the fakest shark you have ever seen in your life that is only held onto his leg because its head's trapped in between his leg and the rope of the ladder. And he's like, Robin, break me down. The shark repellent, the bat spray shark repellent.
Which then he proceeds to slow as he possibly can.
Yeah, he takes his good old time.
This ladder. Just, and then has the nerve to
the audacity,
the audacity to pull this bullshit where he puts his legs on the ladder and leans backwards down to hand him the if I was Batman,
he's just sitting there just staring at him. Like, this shark's just gnawing on his leg, and he's just like, bruh, like, looking at his watch, like, Burt, dude, come on.
I couldn't believe it. I felt bad for Batman in that situation.
He's just pulling this. My leg's getting chewed off by the shark, and look at you. You play it. You're going back to your circus days, Robin. What are you doing?
Yeah, acting like he's in Cirque du Soleil and some shit like that. Like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Like, that's just, I just didn't understand that at all. But
and to top it all off, he gives him the bat spray shark repellent. He sprays the shark and it drops down and explodes in the water. Like, the shark just doesn't fall into the water. It explodes when it hits the water, dude. Never to be mentioned of again. It just explodes.
Which was like, okay,
what was in that spray?
But they'll say something about that, and I'm pretty sure if the rest of the movie they don't say anything about that, like whatsoever.
They don't. No, the Batman just straight up kills a shark. He doesn't give a fuck at all. Yeah. But he cares about another sea creature later in the movie, though, which we'll get to. The yacht just mysteriously disappeared with the the new invention. They never really go into what the invention is. That's on the yacht, but you find out that the invention is not the only thing that was been kidnapped, but I guess the creator of the invention, which is Commodore Schmidlap, is his name, which is just a weird name.
Is it that captain
that just sits in that room the whole time? Where he's like, from the little screen time, I'm like, I don't think this dude would be inventing anything. This dude doesn't seem that smart.
This dude, we'll get back to this motherfucker. This dude makes probably the biggest mistake of the entire movie, but we'll get to that shit at the end.
Oh yeah,
this dude is so fucking dumb. Like, he is in this room. The villains capture him, right? So we're at that part.
Well, not yet. We'll get to that. But I was just saying, this dude dumb as shit. I was just that's the dude that's like tied to that like. The device, like the invention that they keep talking about.
This guy is the one who's behind.
But yeah, the Batman and Robin go to, I guess it's the commissioner's office every time that you see him, but they have like all the press there asking them questions. Yeah, like the mayor, the chief, and then the commissioner's there. And Kitka, who is like who's Catwoman. I mean, everybody knows is Catwoman. As soon as you see her, she has like the accent and everything. But they're all asking like, what happened? Like,
name.
You say that, like, how could a yacht just up and disappear? And Batman's like, yachts just don't up and disappear. Like, there's got to be an explanation. We're like, well, what is the explanation? He's like, I'm sticking to my story. Like, don't worry about it. Like, pretty much Batman's way of just don't worry about it. I'll figure it out.
Don't worry about it.
You're asking too many questions. Don't worry about it.
I'll figure it out.
It's like, we got to figure out who's up to this. And he's like, well, give us a list of all the fucking super villains that are not in prison currently. And it's like, it has like the slide away with the big TV screen. It's like, well, we have the Joker, and it's like, oh, the clown prince of crime, such and such and such. The Riddler, who goes off on all this, and then like the Penguin, it's whatever. And then it's like, on Catwoman. That's it. And then you just say cat, like they have all these descriptions for everything else, and they're like Catwoman, and oh my gosh, the Catwoman, and then they just move on. They don't have like any type of description for her whatsoever.
Like, what could they be doing?
What could they be doing?
Take over
all four of them.
City?
Oh my gosh, that's one of the best lines. He's like, "What are they? They could try to take over Gotham? If there was two of them, I would say so.
There was two of them, I would say so.
The country, maybe if there was three of them." But four of them, the world, just the way that like some of the lines are read,
they're like going after
like Catwoman or one of these other dudes just makes the difference that they're gonna take over the world instead of the
country to the world.
Where it's like,
I love how much they exaggerate in this movie,
yeah,
you know?
everything. And it's like, I mean, Catwoman is pretty much known as like a jewel thief. Like, I don't see her wanting to take over the whole world. Like, I don't see that in her plans. Like, maybe the Joker's crazy enough to do that. Maybe the Riddler.
A pretty bad accent. Like,
it's pretty terrible.
She's not fooling anybody. I don't know how Bruce Wayne fell for it. Oh my god.
Well, I don't know how anybody falls for Batman not being Bruce Wayne, because he uses the same voice every time.
There's nothing to change it other than just throw a little mask on. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it just looks like cloth. It's like,
yeah. And just another note for anybody that hasn't watched this movie and you're going to watch it, just take a note of like how people are standing or what they're doing while people are talking, because I noticed it was in one of the scenes when they're talking to the commissioner at the office. Batman's just standing like this for some reason. Like, he's just standing like weird, like he just has, and every so often he'll just be standing in like a weird pose or something. It's like, why Batman? And there's a couple lines throughout the movie that he reads really weird. And like they could have did like one or two more takes, man. Like, he didn't have to just go with that one. But Adam West is probably, no, that was good enough. We don't need any more.
Another one for what? We just did it.
For what? We just did it. What do you mean?
One of the things
we're making a Batman movie. How good does it have to be?
If you look at Robin, the whole time Robin's talking, his like lips are out like this. He's like, "Gee willikers, Batman!" Like the whole fucking time, it was bothering me. And like I didn't notice it probably the first couple times I watched it, but his lips are poked out
every time.
I'm like, why is he doing that on purpose?
He has to be. It's duck lips every time, man.
Every time.
But this is where, like, that's where you get, like, the holy sardines, holy Polaris Batman. Like, every single time. It's like, Batman, enough.
My favorite one was the Holy Heartbreak, but we'll get to that.
They find out who the villains are. They have to find out what to do next. You cut to the villain's hideout, which is just, like, a room above a bar. Yeah. I guess, and they're called the United Underworld. They have their whole little like painting with this like cartoon octopus on the wall and stuff. But
and they each have their own little sections.
Yeah,
you know,
I was gonna say
private for the Joker.
Have like their own little bookshelf or like storage areas for each person.
Oh, that's cute. They each have their own little section.
Like the Riddler's riddles, or like the Joker's gags and like, you know, props and stuff. Yeah, it's funny how they have it all like kind of separated. The Riddler, I always thought, like, 'cause, I mean, the villains are fantastic in the movie just because of how ridiculous they are. But I always felt like the Riddler, Frank Gorshin, plays it how Cesar Romero should be playing the Joker, because the Riddler always does like this maniacal like laugh that I imagine the Joker doing all the time. It's like, it seems out of character for the Riddler. He has like these weird laughs that he does, and it's kind of similar to like Mark Hamill's
time, though.
Yeah,
you know, where maybe that's just what they were rolling with, you know. But especially like those actors. The thing that bothered me the most about the Joker was that you could see his mustache the entire time.
That was the thing, even through the TV show, because Cesar Romero is famously like, he refused to shave his mustache. He said, "I will not do it. Don't even ask me again. I'm not going to do it. You painting over top of it." That's how it was in the TV show, and that's how it is in the movie, man. It's just the Joker has a mustache. It's just painted over.
It makes it look so much worse, dude. Like, just shave the goddamn mustache. Like,
it's the same way in the show.
I was wondering if I was just delusional or not. Nope. Like, what? I was like, what is going on here? Like, because I was looking at other people and like they just had no facial hair. And I'm like, even if his face was painted right now, it wouldn't. Like, and I was like, is it just stubble? Is it just short? Like, is it just him? I mean, like, I was trying to figure it out, dude.
Sometimes it's harder to notice than others, but sometimes when they do close-ups at an angle, you can see it's not even painted. It's just like a brown mustache. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, that shit is just a fucking mustache on the Joker, dude.
But I love the introduction because like it's Kit Kitka is the reporter that, you know, it's Catwoman that was interviewing them at the press conference. She even had the nerve to ask to remove the mask to take a picture. He's like, "What the? We don't even do that here." Like the commissioner and then we're all offended. He's like, "Man, you cannot ask Batman to remove his mask."
I know you're not from around here, but we don't do that.
We don't do that here.
I love how, like you said, how extra they were about.
Yeah, like, whoa, what? Even like the other reporters are like, "What? Hey, you can't. No."
But
And I like the
she's
Robin's
old.
like explanation. She's like, I can assure you, ma'am, we are underneath these masks. We are like, honest, hardworking human, like civilians like the rest of
Upstanding
you,
citizens.
upstanding citizens like the rest of you. He's like, geez, calm it down, nerd, a little bit. Like Batman's like, geez, tone it down, Robin. Keep your
Robin, you're
cool.
making me look lame.
You're making me look lame. Jesus, I don't even know why I got a partner. I used to do this shit by myself.
Yeah, god damn it, it's getting old.
But I love because as soon as it goes to the next scene, she's going through the bar and she's walking upstairs, and you have like they're all dressed as pirates too, like the henchmen. And he's like, "Hey, Catwoman!" She smacks the shit out of him. She's like, "Don't ever call me by my name out in public." Like Catwoman's her real name. Don't ever call me by my real name.
Yeah, like that's her real name. What was her Kitty
Kitka?
Kitka.
Oh, it was like some ridiculously long Russian name, but they shortened it to Kitka. But yeah, she's like, "Hey, Catwoman," and she smacks the shit out of him in that stairwell. But yeah, she walks in there. And they're fighting, the Riddler and Joker and them are just arguing, going at each other's throats. And she comes in, they go at her, and she just puts the cat down, and they're like, "Oh shit, we don't want to fuck with no
thing
cat
out of here. What are you doing?" And this cat's they're just both instantly whoa.
All these villains, super villains, whoa,
whoa, she got a cat. Oh, it's got claws. It was great though.
It's so ridiculous. But this is where you get the explanation that they are the ones that are holding the actual invention and the Commodore himself, Commodore Schmidtlap. And that's the dude where he just thinks he's on the yacht still. He doesn't have he's not aware that he's been kidnapped at all. He's just in his little room, and they even put a fake background outside of his window to look like they're on the ocean.
And then the Joker comes in full makeup and serves this dude.
And he's a super villain. Yeah. Everybody in Gotham should know who the Joker is. Because even the commissioner mentioned how many times that he's been on the loose and causing ruckus around the city. Everybody should know who he is. So it's this dude's just "Oh, you brought me my tea, thank you, sir."
But this dude's a genius. He's
apparently
the one who made the invention.
It's I got a multi-million-dollar invention here, and he's like, "Pip pip." He's like, "Oh yes, pip pip, cheerio."
How'd they even get him on the boat?
That's what I've always wondered that as well.
He's on the shore.
He's in the bar, the room in the bar. So how did they get him from the boat to the bar without him knowing? Did they knock him out or do it while he's asleep or something? You never find this out.
You never find this out. He's just there.
They go out to the middle of the ocean to find out what's going on with this disappearing yacht or whatever, and they find out it was an illegal projection buoy just out in the middle of the ocean that was projecting this holographic image of the yacht, I guess. And that's Batman and Robin are out there just fucking with it, trying to get in. And then you find that the Penguin has a literal penguin submarine that has little feet at the end.
It flaps. It's got little feet at the end flapping. And I'm yo, this is amazing. It keeps getting better. It keeps getting better and better, man. The Penguin is the ringleader of them all.
Oh yeah, he's the one that's planned it all out. He's the ringleader. And the buoy itself, as they're fucking with it, has magnets in it, so it just sticks them to it with their belts and everything. They can't get off.
Robin, it sucked our belts in.
What are we gonna do, Batman?
Holy hell! Holy magnet, Batman! It's just take the belts off, dude. What are you doing? Oh my god! What happens when they're?
Well, they start shooting the missiles. They start shooting the torpedoes, and they're using something to shorten out the. To blow him up. He has something within he's using he's reversing the magnet or something. I forget what it was, but he reversed the polarity. Yeah, and it blew up the missiles before it got to him. But the last one gets through and they weren't able to blow it up. But I guess they mentioned a dolphin or some kind of sea animal gets in front of it to save.
Sacrificed its life for us. he put his body in the line of duty. And like, I'm like, Batman, that fish had no idea that he was about
That's
to
what I'm
just get
saying.
blown up by a
It's like
fucking
now
torpedo.
he's fine, with sea animals. Before he just fucking blew up a shark at the beginning of the movie, but now he's like that brave sea creature gave its life for us.
Had 2 animals
How
blown up already.
honorable. PETA was pissed probably at this movie.
Peter
Like,
was just like,
what
what
the
the
hell?
fuck is going on here?
But I just like, there's a couple of those things where like Batman's like that, like he just kind of gets serious for a moment, and it's like, all right, why did you just get serious? Like everything was so wacky before. It's like that poor sea creature.
All right, well,
Up on,
well,
we gotta
well.
keep moving on this case then. Well, on to the next thing.
well, it was so sad. But,
Well, this is where you find out they have missiles too, other than like the underwater like tub torpedoes. That's what they were before. They actually have like Polaris missiles. They shoot up into the sky,
yeah.
and on exploding, they writes fucking riddles across the sky.
Yo, I was watching this with my son, right? And like when this happened, Kyrie looked at me like he was like like this was over the top ridiculous type of thing.
Yeah.
Where he was okay with everything else. When this missile, this fucking Voyager type fucking missile, it looks like an old. I mean, it is the '60s, I guess, but like
Yeah.
it goes up, it explodes, and a full-ass paragraph is written in the sky.
It's like,
bro.
I even had him. It was like, what does a turkey do when he flies upside down? It's like he gobbles up.
Gobbles up.
And the other one, which is the most ridiculous one out of the whole movie, was what weighs 6 ounces, sits in a tree, and is very dangerous. And it's a sparrow with holding a machine
With
gun.
a machine gun.
And as soon as they solve, because they go back to the commissioner and the chief to present them this evidence, and there's like a sparrow with a machine gun, and the chief's like, "Oh yes." Like it's like they instantly like, oh, I should have thought of that.
Of course.
Of course, you're right. And then they're like, well, we got to put them together. What gobbles up a bird in a tree? A cat, cat woman. And that's like, we didn't mention it before when they were talking about it. It was like, what would happen to us at sea? That's kind of fishy. Penguin. And he's like,
Penguin.
that shark was pulling on my leg. The Joker. And he's like,
Joker.
he's like, this is all just one big enigma.
big-
Oh, he's like, this is all seems like one big riddle. Wait a minute. Riddler. It's like, how the hell are you putting these pieces together?
How are these people in charge? Like, what is going on right now?
Because it's not just Batman and Robin. It's the commissioner and the chief of police that are helping him figure this out. And they're all just like, oh, yes, you're correct. This is right. Why didn't I think of that? The Riddler.
Bird with a machine gun, of course.
Of course.
God damn it.
Why did I think about that? And Batman and Robin are dumb too, because like in the show, every single item in their car, in the helicopter, in the Batcave is labeled. They can't remember what all of these things are. They have to have everything labeled. They have the Bat label maker putting on everything.
On every single thing, like you're not gonna remember that is the sink. Like shit like that, like bat sink.
Yeah.
Like what? Bat sink. You just can't just put bat in front of everything, man. Like
I don't think you guys are competent enough to be doing this job. But I guess the city's safe, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess.
You see what happens.
That was the way that Batman and Robin figured out that all of these villains are behind this, whatever plan they're behind. They haven't even figured out what they're really
like,
trying to do as of yet.
Something's going on. Okay, they're responsible for whatever's going on. We don't know what's going on yet, though.
So
like, they haven't even really committed any crimes.
I mean, other than just like they don't know what happened to the invention and Commodore Schmidt lab. They don't know where they're at.
True.
So you cut back to the villains who are coming up with, they're devising their own. There's a couple different plans throughout the movie. This is like the second one, where all right, we got to find a way to trap Batman. What's the best way to trap Batman? Let's kidnap the richest person in the city. So who's the richest person in the city? We're going to kidnap Bruce Wayne. We're going to kidnap Bruce Wayne. We're going to lure Batman in, and then we're going to trap Batman, and then we can just let Bruce Wayne go or whatever.
And
but how are we going
to... just like, yes,
this is genius. This dude's spitting right here. Let's keep going.
Keep going. We're gonna kidnap Bruce Wayne. We're gonna lure in Batman. It's over. Like, we got this in the bag. They think they are the smartest people on the planet right now.
That's the best thing about it is this is foolproof. We got this in the bag.
They're going crazy about how good of a plan this is. Like, I could not stress enough how happy they are with themselves about this plan, bro.
I love it, dude. And she just goes to Bruce Wayne's house and like she interviews him or whatever, and Bruce Wayne's just trying to get it in. Like, he's just totally all about it. He's like, fucking right. He's like, hell yeah, I'll go on
your place.
He's like, oh, we'll have an interview. You want to go on a date or whatever? And then you have probably the least interesting part of the movie is them going on a date. They go have dinner, they're dancing, all the thing. The best part about it is Bruce Wayne is still suspicious about everything. So he has Alfred and Robin sitting out in the Batmobile, and Alfred and Robin's in his costume, but Alfred is wearing his butler outfit with just a mask on. It's with his glasses on too.
Yes, goggles, because he's got the mask on. So it looks like he has serious vision problems where he needs those just giant.
Dude, I don't think you should be driving the Batmobile. Maybe you should let Robin drive that Batmobile.
Robin gets all skittish, turns it off. He doesn't want to watch Batman make it out.
That's the other question is where do they have all? Did they plant security cameras everywhere? Because they have a direct feed into the restaurant and even into
everywhere.
Kit Kika's house or apartment where they go to.
Batman has access everywhere.
He must have bat cameras literally everywhere.
The city gives him access to everything. You know this.
It's just Batman has access to all the closed circuit television, the cameras all around the city.
Streetlight cameras, everything.
They go on a horse and buggy carriage ride, and they're fucking smashed face to face talking with each other, whispering sweet nothings.
She's sitting there with this cat Morse code thing.
Yeah, it's a little cat just. And she's still doing the perfect to bat Bruce Wayne, and it's Bruce Wayne, how the fuck do you not know this is Catwoman by now, dude?
He's just not. He's thinking with his dick. That's why.
And that's the other thing is when they were going through the villains on the loose on the TV earlier in the movie, they've captured Catwoman before. They know who this woman is. How in the world does he not know who she is just by looking at her? Is it just because she's not wearing the tiny black mask?
She's got the accent.
I guess it fooled him. It fooled him. That's why afterwards he's like, maybe I should grumble my voice to make people think I'm not Bruce Wayne as Batman. Maybe I should deepen my voice. She's got an idea with this voice changing thing.
It works. All you gotta do is change the voice.
They have the bright idea to also turn on the bat signal as well. Robin and Alfred turn on the bat signal to draw out the villains, to say they think that Batman's out. So that draws the villains out, and they are riding big ass umbrellas designed by the Penguin. I would only assume, because he handles the umbrella shit.
Umbrella jetpacks,
which they're not even on their back. they're riding these giant ass umbrellas.
Picture Harry Potter. They were flying through the sky on these umbrella jetpacks, and this was one of the most ridiculous parts of the movie, where you could just tell they're sitting there on the with a background, a green screen, but not really a green screen.
It looks like the Wicked Witch and Wizard of Oz type shit when she's flying.
So bad.
But yeah, Bruce Wayne and Kika go back to her apartment before they have a chance to even get freaky. They just come barging through, and you have the fight scene, first real fight scene in the movie.
One of my biggest problems with this movie, okay? They bust in, okay? This is hilarious. The Riddler's it's a kidnapping. That's the first thing he says when they bust in the room. He's like, it's a kidnapping.
This is a kidnapping. Our joke's on you. You filthy criminals.
And that's not what I hate. I love that. That's fucking hilarious. This dude's so fucking ridiculous.
Straight to the point. In case you were confused about what's happening right now, this is a kidnapping.
And fucking, but my problem with this scene is the Joker wearing a fucking mask.
All
dude.
of them. I don't know if it's at this scene, but I do know later in the movie when they go to the United Nations, every single one of them are wearing masks, and it's like, we know who you are. You're the Riddler and the Joker and everything. A mask isn't going to do anything.
I feel like the Riddler wearing a mask, that makes sense. I feel like I've seen him wearing a mask.
But the
fucking
Joker...
Joker comes in full costume, full makeup and everything, just wearing this thin ass fucking mask. Like, dude, I know you.
Maybe...
Like,
Maybe he felt left out. He was like, I want a mask too. You guys get all these cool masks.
I hate that shit. I'm like, this dude really fucking took the time to put that shit on and just thought it was a good idea.
That was one of the notes I had too, bro.
Like,
is like, what in the world is the reason for them wearing masks? Like, you were supervillains. Like, everybody knows who you are. You don't need to be wearing masks.
What are you doing?
Like, there's some other Joker out there causing ruckus.
Like, they don't care about being wanted in the first place. Why are you even wearing a mask? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like I said, it's crazy.
But the reason Robin doesn't come in to try to save him is because they like you said, they're like, oh, they're having alone time. Like, I don't feel right watching this. Like, we should kind of give them their privacy. And as soon as they flip that shit back on to check on them, everybody's gone. The whole apartment's empty. Like, holy mackerel! Like, what do we do? And then that's where you have them flying through the sky on those umbrellas that like Bruce Wayne's just like knocked out and he's like slipping off and Catwoman's just meowing through the fucking sky and shit. It's so ridiculous. So they go back to the villain hideout and Bruce Wayne's like, what have you done with Kit Guy? If you hurt her, I swear I'll kill you. She has to like change into like and go and like fake like she's tied up in that room so like they can bring him in.
The room. Right.
And they're like even have like they're like monitoring the room to listen to what they're talking about. He's like, I have like a radio transmitter like tied to my left elbow if I can reach it. And she's like, well, that's an odd thing to have. And he's like, most wealthy people do have these sorts of things that carry large like amounts of money on them or something. Like they have to have a backup plan. That's his excuse for Bruce Wayne just having weird technology on him. He's like, hey, all wealthy people
Another
do.
example of everybody's an idiot in this entire movie. Because Kidna believes him. She's like, oh, okay. And they're all sitting there listening, and they're like, doesn't he say something about like he's sure to come rescue me or something like that?
Well, she's like, don't worry, Batman's gonna be coming to rescue us. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, maybe. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on it or whatever. I mean, maybe, because he's at the point where he was like close to telling her that he was Batman at one point. He's like, there are things about me you would never understand, or like I can't reveal to you at this point or something. It's like, bro, you just went on your first date. You cannot be ready to spill the beans that quick about being Batman, dude. It's like the '89 one with Michael Keaton. Like, he was ready to tell her he was Batman by the end of the movie. He's like, you just met. Like, what do you mean?
Like, yo, relax.
Batman's just been dying to reveal a secret to someone all these years.
I gotta tell somebody. More than just a young lad.
But I'm tired of this fucking kid following me around all the time, saying his weird sayings and acting like a nerd. Grow up. I thought he would be cool like me, but he hasn't turned cool yet. He's just a nerd. How am I supposed to leave him all this when I'm gone? But
he don't deserve this shit.
He don't deserve this. But because he says he has like that transmitter up his sleeve or whatever, that's when they come in and are like, oh, what do we have hidden up your sleeve? And as soon as like they untie him, that's when he fucking breaks out and starts, punching everybody, and they get the bam, bang, pow and stuff. Mm-hmm. You even like he throws the one like henchman dude onto like one of the Joker's boxes, and it springs his ass out the window, and it turns into a dummy just flying through the sky.
And it explodes when it hits the water, just like the shark, dude. That's the thing that got me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why are things exploding when they hit the water in this universe? Like, what kind of shit's going on here? But he explodes the same way the shark does.
And he's fighting all these dudes, and one of the best parts is he like runs into that room where he was captive, and they're coming, he's like holding on to the door, and then all of a sudden he opens up the door and you just see two fists come out and punch all three of them or whatever. And then he makes his dash and he climbs out the window and dives into the water, and Bruce makes his getaway, of course.
Yep.
So, I mean, they're really left with nothing. The villain's plan has been foiled once again here. So this is where you find out that the Penguin has another plan up his sleeve. Once again, another man with a plan, and this one's even more outrageous than the last. This dude has a whole ass dehydrator that removes every single water molecule out of your body and turns you to dust.
Turns you into a pile, like, looks like kitty litter.
It does look like kitty litter, and that's the thing. Is like, was this the invention that they stole, or is this like a mastermind genius thing that he invented this whole time?
I'm pretty sure this is what they stole.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't think they ever clearly say that that's the thing they stole.
You're just supposed to assume, you're supposed to connect all the dots, you know?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is the thing they stole here.
Yeah, and no better way to test it out than on random henchmen and they even bother to number them. Like, they all have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on them.
Completely willing to do whatever the Penguin wants them to do, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. They're just standing there completely still
like,
while he just...
Doop, doop, doop. And I like Catwoman's like scooping up all the fucking powder and putting in the vials. And apparently I saw like this line is ad-libbed, but the fucking Penguin's like, every one of them has a mother. And she's
I love that line, bro. The Penguin's just like, nobody sneeze. Now, keep that in mind, okay? He says, nobody sneeze. And he's like, every one of them has a mother.
Every one of them has a mother. Apparently that wasn't in the script. As I was doing research, that was just a straight up ad-libbed line from him, and they kept in. And it's so fucking funny. And I've never asked him about if he's watched this movie ever before, but it had to have been from that. Quentin used to say that way back in the day in like middle school and high school. And I knew what it was from, but I never knew that he's seen this movie. So, but he would every now and then, he's like, every one of them has a mother or whatever. Like when we're playing video games or whatever. And I was like, yo, how did you get this quote from? It's such a tiny quote. Like you'll miss it in this movie.
The most random shit, bro. But it was one of the best lines of the movie.
This is the first part of his plan because Batman's like, all right, we know where the villain's hideout is. We're going to go back, fucking bust some skulls, bust some heads in here, man. They go back and they find an empty ass room with a bomb in it, and it's not just a bomb. It's not like a stick of TNT with a fucking a dial on it. It's an old timey fucking big ass black bomb with a fuse. And this is easily the most memorable part of this whole movie, other than like the shark in the beginning, is that scene with just Batman running around the whole like. It's like a boardwalk that he's on near the ocean with that bomb, just running with it over his head, trying to get the famous quote.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Runs into a group of nuns, runs into a band.
The band just keeps coming around the whole time, playing the same song.
He tries to throw it in the water, but there's ducks there.
There's little duckies, and then there's a people in a boat underneath the bridge. He's gonna throw it in. He's like, "Oh God, what am I gonna do?" And there's like no fuse. It's like down in there by now. And he's like, "Oh God, what am I gonna do?" And he runs off screen, and that's when it explodes. And you're like, "Oh no!"
It explodes.
This is the end of Batman. He's dead. He didn't get rid of the bomb in time. But no, this is where you find out Batman's he's an asshole. He's a dickhead because he straight up fucks with Robin in this next scene. Robin hears the explosion. He's running and he gets there. He's like, oh my God, Batman, he's dead. He's gone. He's blown up to smithereens. And then right beside him, he just pops up and puts his hand on his shoulder.
Nope, I'm right here, I'm right here, Robin. Don't worry.
Don't worry, Robin.
I hid right behind this pile.
Holy heart attack, Batman. I think that's exactly what he says. Like, holy heart attack.
Wanted to see if he really cared.
Well, that's what he says. He's like, I got rid of it just in time, and luckily there's a pile of thick pipes here I can hide behind. Or whatever. I feel like Robin running up should have seen Batman just ducked behind those pipes as he's running.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, but no, Batman.
But he's just like, I'm gonna fuck with Robin a little bit here. This is gonna be funny. He's a fucking practical joke. And I love the quote here is like, Batman, why would you risk your life to save all that riffraff back there at the bar? And he's like,
they may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings. And may be salvaged. I had to do it.
Even though they're sitting in there, we should save their
they're citizens. Yeah, they're human beings. You know, and we have a duty to save the people of Gotham. Like Robin was just ready to let these people die. Apparently, Batman's like, bro, no, man. Like we gotta save them. Like just because they're at a bar, we can't just assume they're bad people.
Like, come on now, Robin. Like you just out here. Like, do we need to go over your performance review? Like,
Yeah,
like
Robin, we're gonna have to teach you what's acceptable now.
He messes up a lot in this movie.
So this is where you find out part of the Penguin's other plan, because all of a sudden Commodore Schmidt-Lap arrives, which is secretly the Penguin dressed up as him, even though he has his big ass pointy nose and monocle still. I guess the Commodore has a monocle, so I guess he kind of gets away.
Totally not buying it.
Not immediately. Like they turn to themselves and they're like, Robin, that is clearly the Penguin in disguise.
That is the Penguin right there. He thinks that we don't know who the fuck he is.
He's like, what? Batman, I'm Commodore Schmidt-Lap. And he's like, oh, yes, 1 second. He's like, that is clearly the Penguin here, Robin. He's like, let's just see what he's gonna do. Let's just let this go on. Let's just let this pan out and see what's going on, what he's up to a little bit here. let's just let him roll a little bit, see what he's trying to do. They even accuse him, like, oh, we know it's you, Penguin. He's like, I've never heard of no Penguin before or ever.
Penguin?
And he's like, we have a fucking database in our Batmobile. We can fingerprint you. And he's like, oh, I lost my fingertips because of something. I don't have any fingerprints.
It's like plastic-coated fingertips, huh, Robin? He's like, yep, that's exactly what happened. What?
And then he even tells Batman, he's like, oh, I bet you probably have like a retina scanner or something like back at your hideout or something, right? He's like, you'd be willing to come back and, go through a full test? He's like, yeah, sure. I don't have anything to hide, right?
Holy shit, Robin.
Holy shit, Robin. We fucking got him. He's fucking walking right into our trap, Robin. We got him.
Penguin's like, what? Holy shit, this is working.
This is working. These fucking idiots are buying it. Like, they're both sides are like, yeah, we got him. Don't worry.
Oh my god.
Oh,
this movie
so
was
funny.
Incredible.
Holy shit, we got him.
This is like when it starts getting really fucking good.
Oh yeah. From here on, I mean, what we've been talking about's been funny and crazy enough, but from here on out, it's just outrageous because they take this dude back to the Batcave.
They knock him out first.
They knock him out so they can't see where he's going.
He's gonna give the bat gas, and he's just sitting there. He's like, wah, wah.
And they take him back to the Batcave, and while they're just going about their shit, he fucking just uses their I guess they just have a bat water cooler hanging out in the Batcave, so he just takes out the dehydrated henchmen he has in his pocket and just adding water to them just makes them come alive again. But there is one flaw in this plan, is apparently anytime someone takes a hit after they come back from that, they instantly die and disappear again. They just evaporate and die. So every time Batman and Robin hit one of these people, they're killing someone. Okay.
They're gone. Every one of them had a mother.
Every one of them had a mother, as Penguin mentioned. So he knew what this probably was going to do. He didn't care. He didn't give a fuck. And I love, after they're done fighting, he's, up in that ladder, hanging there. He's like, I swear I didn't know what was going on, Batman.
And they're like,
oh,
yeah. It's clearly you were delusional. You were under some type of.
He's like, I was. Oh, I was. You're right.
We're gonna take you right back where you were, and we'll just act like none of this ever happened. It's just
oh,
so
really?
ridiculous.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. He couldn't. He can't believe he's fooling him right now. But Batman and Robin all right, we'll let him, do the thing.
Just leads them to do even worse shit.
Yeah, and they knock him out again, and they drive him out. They leave the Batcave again, which they didn't really do anything at the Batcave. Really, nothing got done at the Batcave. Like, oh, there's something wrong with the Batmobile. I gotta pull over, and they pull over. And
bro, before we even get to that, Batman and Robin are just fucking cruising while the Penguin's still sleeping. And Batman is just out of nowhere, he's just like, Robin, take this pill.
Oh, yeah.
Robin just fucking pops it. Like he doesn't say nothing about none of that shit. Like, and if he does, I missed it. But like they're cruising.
Robin,
and
take this pill.
Robin,
like it's the
take-
'60s. You never know what's in that pill, bro. Like, it would have been hilarious if it was like a Cheech and Chong moment where like he gives him the pill. He's like, "Oh shit, don't take that, Robin. I'm sorry, wrong pill. You just took the most acid I've ever seen anybody take, Robin."
Out of nowhere, that shit is so funny. But then they wake the penguin
Robin,
up.
take this pill.
Robin, take this pill.
He's like, "Oh, well,
Okay.
thanks, pal. I didn't know we were doing this today, but all right." But yeah, that's when he starts faking the vehicle trouble. Because they automatically assume this was what the Penguin was going to do. The Penguin uses his umbrella and like uses knockout gas on him, throws him out of the car and steals the fucking Batmobile. You know, but because they took those pills, hey, they just woke right up. They're like, "Oh, stupid idiot fell right into our plan."
So that's why they took the pills.
Yeah, they took the pill because they
Okay.
knew that they were going to get sprayed with the gas and get knocked out,
I
and they
missed
knew
that
that he
part.
was going to take the fucking Batmobile to lure them exactly to where they needed to go. They just had a terribly hidden Bat motorcycle there with just leaves and grass all over it. You can still see the motorcycle underneath it, and they just run over the fucking Bat cycle and start driving off. They go back to the Batcopter. The villains shoot them down, from what I remember. They use like the fucking in the submarine. They shoot them down in the
They used
Batcopter.
another Polaris missile. No,
Holy Polaris,
because
Batman!
he's shooting it up to be another message in the sky, another riddle in the sky, and it hits the Batcopter.
And
like one of them hits the
coincidentally,
Batcopter or
there's like
something.
a foam rubber convention in Gotham that they land in.
Just coincidentally. And then Robin's like, I'll get a cab. And Batman's like, hold on, Robin, you fucking idiot. Not at this time of day. Like,
We're never gonna get a cab at this time of day. You've ever been downtown Gotham, Robin?
Let's commandeer a taxi.
No, Robin, not at this time of day. Luckily, we're in tip-top condition. It'll be faster if we run. Let's go.
And they just start down the street, and like Robin is not having it. Like he's just like, oh my god.
By the
Like,
time they get there,
this
like, oh my god, I'm so tired. My
I
legs
love
are on
that part.
fire.
He's like, Batman, I can't do this no more.
Forgot to mention it because it's just a small scene. As soon as they figure out about the missiles and about the sub and everything, they give a call to like the army or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, have you guys like sold a fucking like, you know, a submarine with some fucking missiles here recently?" And they're like, "Why, yes, Batman, we just sold one like a couple weeks ago, man. Like we sold it to P. N. Gwyn." And they're like, "Are you fucking serious?" He's like, "Did he give an address?" He's like, "No, we don't have an address for him." And he's like, "You know, you seem kind of irritated, Batman. What's wrong?" He's like,
Disposing of pre-atomic submarines to persons who don't even leave their full addresses.
Good day, Admiral.
and then he just hangs up on him, and he's like, "Fucking dude, like, not only like." Batman is so mad because he didn't get a full address because he sold him all this stuff, but like the name they got was P. N. Gwyn from the buyer, bruh. From the buyer. And they didn't cross-reference this dude's references. They didn't do a background check on who's buying these missiles.
Son of a bitch.
Batman's just like so fucking fed up with the cops and even the army right now. He's like, how could you be so careless?
Because
Yeah.
everybody's incompetent.
And I mean, even Batman and Robin are incompetent, but they're still like probably the smartest out of
smartest
everybody,
ones.
which doesn't say
Exactly.
much. The villains go to like the United Nations pretty much, and it's just like a tiny ass blue room with like just a tiny like a table with everybody sitting all around from the different nations, everything. And the villains
Just
once
screaming
again,
in all these different languages.
oh yeah, they're fucking yelling at each other. There's no peaceful talks at this UN session today. They're fucking screaming at each other in different languages and everything too. But the villains once again come in with their masks on. they pull up with their submarine near the dock next to the UN somehow.
And just hop out.
Hop out and they're just sneaking into the
Pop
building.
trunk with, oh my god, the penguin runs past this dude, and the dude's just like, hey. And if dude wouldn't have said anything, he would have been fine. 'Cause
Yeah.
The penguin was just gonna run right past him.
Mind your now it's time to mind your business, dude.
He comes on back and like, doesn't he dehydrate him or something? Like I forget what he does.
Well, they knock him out because they knock the two guards out
Oh,
of the
yeah,
door, and they
that's
fall against each other, and they're like leaning up against each other at the door.
The whole
But they're like
sequence is ridiculous.
knockout gas everybody in this fucking building, and then they just go up into the United Nations and they dehydrate everybody in the United Nations.
All the world leaders, and they're just doing it one by one as they're arguing. Like nobody's even noticing. Nobody's taking a beat to stop.
Everybody's so preoccupied with their arguments.
It's a message.
It
is
a
message right there.
Back in the '60s, and it rings true to today still.
Exactly.
But yeah, they do it separately so that everybody in the United Nations has their own individual little vial in this rack that they have.
Put them all in this big, like, it looks like something you'd see in school with all these different vials full of sand. Okay, just like all the world leaders.
Yeah, it looks like the shit you would do at like Knoebels or Hershey Park or like an amusement park where like you have the different color sand and you like fill up like a cool bottle with them or something.
Exactly.
They get away. They have the Commodore. They have the invention, and they also have pretty much every member of the United Nations now. So the villains, their plans actually worked, but despite all their efforts and their failed plans before, they've succeeded with what they're trying to do so far. They're getting away with it. And they have a big ass sub with missiles too, so they're on the right track. But Batman and Robin, you know, they come in too late. They find out the United Nations people are taken. They know about the sub already, so they decide, all right, we're fucking going to the Batboat. And they go to the docks, and the Batboat's just sitting there. Anybody could have taken this shit. It wasn't locked up. It wasn't anything. Anybody could have just walked over and took that boat. But they have the bright idea of fucking find the sub, and they just do circles. They do donuts around the sub so they can't lock their torpedoes onto them. And Robin gets that big ass it's not. Is it a rocket launcher? Or it's like some type of like EMP or something that like shoots at
like blows them up.
Yeah,
like, it just like what is it, like the reverse polarity, or I don't even know what it is.
It's shooting something at the submarine and it's fucking up the submarine, so they have to go up.
Just like oh shit, like I think it's like some shockwave shit because they surface, and this kind of leads to like a big fight.
Yeah, but like I think that was about the time where you mentioned before where like they're looking up through the periscope and shit. And I like the periscope they have because there's eye holes the whole way around it for every villain to sit there and like look at it.
To look at the same object. So like I don't know who really controls it.
And the periscope that comes out of the water is like a penguin's head with an eye in it, or like the glass. But that's when she's like, and the dude's like, what the fuck? But this is where you get the big finale, really, is they fucking come out, they surface the sub, Batman and Robin board the ship, and they fucking have it out. And it looks like, I remember as a kid, it looked so fun. Like, because they're punching, and people are diving off the sub into the water. Like, it just looked like a fun time. Yeah. It looks like it's just a set, they like a big ass water tank they put like a half of a top of a sub in or something.
Yeah. Exactly, and it looks like it's like I would see this live action theater. Like, that's what it look. I would see this at SeaWorld or at Universal Studios or something. Like
it's a pretty cool fight, but that's where also you get a ton of like the BAMs, pals, like people fighting and
classic stuff.
The classic stuff you have from the series, people getting thrown from the ship and everything. I've read this multiple places, so it must have been true. Apparently, one of the crew members, I guess one of the pirate henchmen or whatever, whenever they fucking got flipped off of the submarine into the water, he hit his head on like the metal underneath, like in the water, and he got knocked out, and they didn't notice at first, and the dude was just underwater, like unconscious. Like he didn't float to the top, he was just underwater, so they had to like dive in and rescue this dude, and like he fucked up his head big time, like he almost drowned because of it.
Thank God they saved him. Holy shit.
Right? Like I mean, it was the 60s, there probably wasn't much regulations or safety precautions at that point in time. But Jesus Christ, someone almost died on the set of a weird Batman 60s campy movie. Something tragic almost happened.
That would have been terrible.
Yeah, but as these movies tend to do, Batman and Robin, they win the fight. They defeat the villains, but
it leads to one of the most ridiculous scenes in the entire fucking movie.
They go down into the sub.
They go down into the sub, and Catwoman had already just went down the steps, and she trips, and she like falls.
Her mask falls off.
And her mask falls off. And Batman comes down, and he just looks at her, and he's like, and this like very sad classical music.
I was gonna
plays.
say, like, this dude has an existential crisis for like 30 seconds, dude. He's
like,
going through it.
45 seconds, he's just staring and sweating.
Oh, that's what I was
and
gonna
just,
say.
like-
His mask is all wet. He's sweating.
He's just like he just saw like the biggest.
His lip is quivering. He's like, oh,
Oh,
holy
and,
heart,
like,
holy
Robin even
heart.
said, holy heartbreak, and he's just like, oh, and it's like, oh, it's just a classic. And out of nowhere, he's just like, oh well, Robin, these things happen.
Well, he tells
just,
Robin, he's like, we can't reveal too much. He's like, I forget what the exact quote is. He's like,
reacting would be compromising or
yeah,
something like that.
exactly. Like reacting or reveling any more would be compromising our situation.
It's like, oh well,
But these things happen. But these things happen. Oh, well.
It's just one of those things in the life of every crime fighter. It means nothing. Snap on the bat cuffs.
He's
like the fucking flips, like the switch flips so quick.
And it's so over the top dramatic in those 45 seconds for him to just be like,
it's a close ass shot of his face too. It zooms all the way in, and he's just going through it in his head. Like you almost feel like the music's just playing in his head. Like, like he's going through his.
He's like, oh my god, this woman I loved is Catwoman.
One day or 2 days.
I was in love. Like he acts like he was deep in love with her, and then like I said, it's just like, oh well, these things.
These things happen. I wish they would have panned out a little bit, because I would have, like, through that whole thing, I would have loved to see what Robin and Catwoman were doing. Like, what is he doing right now? Like, he's just sitting there. Are you all right? Hello, Batman. But they do have bigger things to solve here. Problems to solve. They have the fucking containers, the two test tubes of the dehydrated United Nations people, and Batman slowly sneaks over to it, and he grabs it, but he sneaks up on it like it's gonna fucking like move out of the way or something. He's like, oh my god, be careful, Robin. And he grabs. He's like, oh god, that was a close one. And then the fucking Commodore Schmidt lap comes in. He's like, what's what's going on in here? Some kind of costume party? And not only
dude comes in, just out of fucking out of nowhere.
Dude hasn't left. He hasn't left that room ever that we know of. And now all of a sudden he's like, what's going on out here? Dude,
like you said,
trips and falls into Batman, which knocks the test tubes of dehydrated United Nations member all over the table. Not only is that bad enough, this dude breaks everything, and on top of that, as soon as he falls on top of all the powder, sneezes and blows all the powder everywhere. Blows it everywhere.
He's like, the two worst possible.
Literally that fast too. He's like,
I'm like, and Batman's just like, oh my fuck.
What have you done? But
it's so bad they get JFK involved in this shit.
They call the president. But luckily, Batman and Robin just so happen to have a super molecule separator back at the Batcave. You know, we never used this ever before, Robin, but I knew we would need it eventually. I knew we bought this thing for a reason.
Is trying to genetically modify these motherfuckers. Like, he's trying to do some type of gene editing. Like, and Batman's just like, whoa. We cannot play God.
Hold on a second, brother. Hold on a second, dude. We gotta do something.
The amount of times he has to rein in Robin in this movie is alarming.
It is. Like, Batman by the end of this movie should be second guessing why Dick Grayson is Robin right now. Like, maybe I should be better off alone.
You have some weird tendencies, Robin. Like, he wants like some New World Order type of shit. Like, that's what he's on.
Robin, I gotta train you some more before we go back out. Like, you're gonna need to go through some more training.
What is going on here? But they end up getting it all taken care of, where they think they have a solution.
Well, yeah, they put like all the set. They have the super molecule, separator in the Batcave. They pour everything into, and like you would see at like a bank, like a coin separator, it like separates all the fucking things into their own test tubes by color. So it was like, oh, everything's fucking cool. Somehow Batman already had this machine back at the Batcave that somehow was going to solve this. Never had to use it ever before, but luckily they had it. So like, all right, all we gotta do, fucking go back to the United Nations, drops of water, boom. Call it a day, go back home, get some drinks, Robin. Well, you can't have drinks, you're underage. I'll have some drinks. I'm Bruce Wayne. But go back, and they're live streaming this for everybody. Everybody at home's watching this shit. The president's watching this shit. Yeah, like it's the moon landing. People in fucking foreign countries are somehow watching this shit.
Yeah.
Because it's the United Nations, I guess. It makes sense. But they go back, and they have like an IV, like with tubes all fucking lined up so they could drop the water simultaneously.
Scene in the movie.
Way too long, bro. It goes on forever. Like just them sitting there waiting.
What the? It's like 2 whole minutes of just drip,
drip, drip. Cut to Batman. Cut to Robin. Cut to the president. Who they know, you don't see his face. It's just like the back of him.
Yeah.
Cut to like
sounds kind of
people
like
sitting on his couch somewhere. You feel like they saved the day. All the United Nations people come back, but there is one small problem. Their souls, they're not themselves. All their personalities are flip-flopped between their bodies. So there's like a dude from like, I don't know, like the UK speaking like German or Spanish, and the US guy is speaking like French. Like they're all crisscrossed, like their personalities and their minds are crisscrossed. And this is probably one of the funniest fucking scenes of the movie. Because it's played so fucking straight. Because they go right back to yelling at each other. Like as soon as they come back, they're still just all yelling at each other like nothing ever happened, except they're all have their own different. They're all switched. All like the police chief and all the other spectators in the room are kind of like shocked. Like they're visibly like appalled at what's happening before them. Like something's not right. And Batman and Robin are like together by the door. And I even have Batman's fucking quote here.
This strange mixing of minds may be the greatest single service ever performed for humanity. Let's go. Inconspicuously. Through the window.
So it's like, yeah, we saved the day. There's something wrong, but it's good enough for us. Let's just get out of here slowly. But instead of leaving through the door we're right behind, let's just climb out the window.
Unnoticed. And like nobody notices them fucking walking over to the window, lifting this shit up.
Throw the rope out and tying it up, and then climbing up into the window.
It's like, it reminds me of fucking Andrew where it's like, I fixed it too good.
I fixed it too exactly. Did you fix it, Batman? Hey, you could say I fixed it too good, man.
I fixed it too good, man. I'm just gonna go ahead and like,
and then like the end of the movie is just fucking Batman and Robin climbing down the fucking the whole like the beginning of them, like when they went to the US4, when they went there and found that they were like dehydrated and kidnapped. They went through the bottom of the building and up through the thing. So why are they climbing out the window and go back down? Use the stairs like you used before.
Make a dramatic exit, even though they're trying to be sneaky. They still know everybody's got eyes on them. They're like, we're just
that is easily because like normally in like superhero movies, the hero saves the day, or it's like, yeah, they kind of did, but there's a lot of shit unresolved. Like these people are gonna be fucked for the rest of their lives, probably. Like there's no way to fix this.
What are you gonna do about this, Batman? What are you gonna do about this now?
Yeah,
we never got a Batman 2.
These people are clearly not themselves. How are they going to go back to their normal lives, or their families for that matter? Because like their bodies may look the same to their families, but the people inside the bodies are not themselves.
They're completely soul changed,
Yeah.
So Batman's got to figure out the divine shit. Robin might have been right.
He's like, that's above my pay grade, Commissioner Gordon. I'm peacing out. But like. That just shows like how much Adam West as Batman just like, we brought him back. That's all we were supposed to do, man. Like it's not my job to be going out here fixing people's souls, man. I saved them. I saved the Commodore. I saved the invention. I saved the United Nations people. What else you want me to do?
Like he's like, come on now. I'm only one Batman. Come on. Y'all gotta do something.
That's probably one of the best endings to a Batman movie ever, man. It's just like, and because it's not only just like, oh yeah, they're back and it's still fucked up. Batman really thinks that because of their souls being switched, he felt like he did the world a service. And he's just whispering this to Robin. So he clearly knows that he did something wrong, but he doesn't care because he's only telling this to Robin. Like, let's just kind of sneak out through the window, man.
Wait till Alfred hears about this shit.
Wait till after. We gotta tell Alfred about this shit, man. Like,
maybe he'll have an idea.
We gotta unplug the bat phone too, because they're probably gonna be calling us about this nonstop for the next couple of weeks.
Close the blinds. I don't want to see that fucking bat signal.
We're gonna. You ready for a vacation, Dick? We're gonna be going to the Bahamas or something for a couple weeks. Let's get out of Gotham, man.
God,
and
man.
we captured pretty much all the villains. There's not gonna be any crime for a while. We're good.
We earned our time with this one. That day's the bird.
But the one last question I have here, because as they're climbing down the building, you get the end text, but then it changes to the living end ? And it was like, what the fuck does that mean? What does the living end mean?
I didn't even notice that. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it has the end, but the space between the and end has like it puts living, and then there's a question mark after end, so it's like the living end. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean?
What does that even mean? What are you fucking talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you even talking about? Like, oh my god.
So
I gotta see that shit. I was like,
yeah, you have to go back and
like,
check that out. So I mean, this was Batman's first foray into the motion picture business here. I mean, he technically saved the day, but I mean, there's still some unsolved questions, man. But apparently that was out of Batman and Robin's pay grade. They're like, nah. That's for God to settle, man. That's not for us to settle.
They did their job. They did exactly what they needed to do. They did what they were hired to do. You know,
exactly.
They get paid. They did what they were there to do.
Exactly.
They're a little switched up. Like you said, it's a little masterful mixing of minds. I don't know what that is, man. That's your problem. But I loved it. I thought it was a great movie, man.
Yeah, man. It is a wild movie. Like it's definitely
It was
one.
so entertaining.
It's definitely one I don't go back to very often because, like, before we watched this for the review, man, it was probably been since I was a kid since I watched it. So I mean, to come back and watch it again and see how kooky and nutty and campy and corny it is, it's so entertaining and it's so enjoyable. I can totally understand why some people just wouldn't get it or wouldn't like it, but like it's far from boring by any means.
It's still gonna be able to be carried through this movie the whole time. You're not gonna worry about it. It was genuinely enjoyable. It was just really over the top ridiculous.
Oh yeah. And for a 60s movie, like, it's not slow at all. Like, this movie like goes by pretty quickly. The only slow scene I would kind of say is just like whenever Bruce Wayne goes on that date with Kit Kitka.
Exactly.
That's only really where it slows down, and it's not for very long before it picks back up. But I mean, the music in it is pretty funny. It's pretty good. The performances are so hammy and corny. It's ridiculous, especially out of Adam West and some of the scenes. The villains are way over the top, which makes it that much better. And the story just, you know, it starts at a ridiculous place and it just keeps building and building and building to even more outrageousness throughout the rest of the movie. That's why I love it, and that's why it's gonna always hold a place in my heart. This is one I will be kind of coming back to, not very often, but every so often. This is one I would throw in just because if I want to just have a quick laugh or put me in a good mood or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And me never seen it before. Like now, I have my own genuine appreciation for this movie as well. And I can't wait for this journey because, like I said, we're gonna be seeing all these movies that I've never seen before.
Yeah,
I can't wait for it, man.
And it's going to be such a big jump, and I know we'll talk about it more in the next episode when we're talking about Richard Donner's Superman from the 70s with Christopher Reeves. That is an entirely different type of superhero movie. That's whereas, like, all right, we're taking this character seriously, and we're going to do something awesome with it.
What we're about to watch, man. I have no idea what this next one is. Like,
it's been a long time since I've seen the original Superman, but I do know that that's where they really like took superhero movies like seriously. Like, we're gonna try to do this character justice. We're not gonna make it corny and campy like Batman. We're actually gonna do like what the Superman comics were gonna do. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see the the differences between this and then jumping to Superman eventually.
Right.
Because I mean this there's nothing else like this movie. I feel like even with all the other nutty movies that are listed and that we're going to be covering through the 70s and 80s and 90s or whatever up until now, there's not going to be anything like this movie out of all of them. I guarantee it.
No,
I
this one
guarantee
it set the standard as far as like being over the top, and I think it was like pretty much like it was a great movie to be on the starting off point here because it set the standard as far as don't take yourself too seriously. You know, some of these movies are the best. Like we'll get to it years from now, probably, but Guardian shit like that doesn't always take itself super serious that's why it's so good sometimes. You know, it's got those like serious parts, obviously, but a lot of the times it's just kind of having fun with itself, and that's what I felt like this movie was doing the whole time, was just like having fun with itself, you know.
And the times that it does try to be serious, it makes it even funnier, is because they try to do it serious. Like,
So
you know,
bold.
Bruce, like Batman talking about the thugs that almost blew up in the bar, or fucking, you know, mourning the sea creature that died, that got blew up by the missile to save them, or, you know, or just the end thing with the reveal of Catwoman. It's like, it's so much funnier when they try to do something serious, because it just doesn't play well with the rest of the movie.
Right. Maybe it did at one point, but not nowadays.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's for anybody that hasn't seen this movie, I highly recommend going to check it out. Just to say you've seen it once, man, just because of how ridiculous it is. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere.
This is something I was trying to think about. At the end of every episode, we could, between me and you, we'll give our opinion on what do you think it's a must watch or a skip.
I mean, I wouldn't skip it, but I wouldn't say it's a must watch either. I would say it's kind of like somewhere in between.
Well, it's either must watch or skip.
I would say must watch then, man. If you put it between those two, I would say it's a must watch.
That's
if
how
you
I
haven't
feel
seen
about it. And I'm talking if you're just a superhero movie fan, you know, and you've never seen it before. It's either, because there's definitely going to be some on this list that you could probably skip.
You could skip this.
You know what I mean? But this one is a must watch if you're a superhero movie fan. That's how I feel about it. You know, it was amazing. It's a great jumping off point. It's ridiculous, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely agree with that. What an episode to kick off this brand new series, Heroes of Our Time, man. I had a lot of fun with this. I had a lot of fun watching this movie, even though we watched it a couple times. It kind of gave us a chance to kind of look a little further into it than just a regular one-time watch, you know.
Right.
And it was also interesting to hear, like you said, like Kyrie's opinion on it a little bit, because like he grew up in the world of superhero movies now,
Iron Man and
huge
War.
multi-million-dollar budgets, you know, like special effects, CGI, like almost completely for some movies.
I thought it was so ridiculous, man.
Exactly. So it's interesting to see that kind of thing, whereas like when I was growing up, all we had was like, you know, the Tim Burton Batmans and stuff, whereas like, yeah, it was done in the late 80s, but they definitely had more, and they were able to do more than the 60s.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as campy.
It wasn't that far removed from it, though.
Exactly. Definitely looking forward to doing the next one here for episode 2, which is Superman 1978. Is there any final thoughts you have on Batman here, Vern?
Just, you know, I thought it was probably my favorite part was how dramatic it was whenever it was Bruce Wayne or Batman realizing it was like Catwoman.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite part of the movie, just how dramatic that was.
Yeah, that part is absolutely amazing, dude. It gets me every time. But yeah,
man, I had a great time.
Yeah, man, I cannot wait to do the next review here with you. But before we go here, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. As always, go check us out on Twitter, on Instagram at Cinema Trip Views, and also wherever you get your podcasts, pretty much available everywhere. So drop in and leave us a good review there. Anything else you want to say here and say to the folks, Vern?
No, please stick around and enjoy this journey of every single superhero movie as we go through it. It's going to be fun. Just stick around. Let us know what you think. If you have any ideas, leave some comments, but just thanks for watching.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you thought. If you've seen this movie, let us know what you thought about it in the comments, what you liked or disliked about it. We would definitely love to see what you thought about it. And like I said, definitely like, share, and subscribe. Check us out wherever on social media and wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see everybody next time.